Hey, welcome to the Double Stuff podcast, where we're two of each and four of a kind.
Four of a kind.
Oh, how sweet.
Yes.
It is. Is that a winning hand of some sort, though? Four of a kind.
It is
of
for
something?
us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
perfect hand to make a
almost
podcast.
unbeatable. It's up there.
Oh, I'm certainly the queen of hearts.
But we're not flush. Okay, now we're picking cards.
Dan would be like, the
Deuce is wild.
He's not the Joker. He's the instruction card.
That's what I was going to say. Okay. We're on too much of a good wavelength here. It's just this side of the table.
It works
thing,
out,
right?
yeah.
All right,
Our side of the
speaking of
table's
gaming, we're going to talk about sports.
Oh, nice.
Sports ball.
All right,
ball.
so what do you guys? Are you guys sports fans?
Only in the Olympics. So,
Really?
I don't care about school teams. I know we just had the Super Bowl, and I'm glad the Chiefs won.
Yeah.
Representing
Also,
the
at the
Midwest.
time of this
I'm
recording,
so proud of you for knowing
at the
that,
time of
though.
this at the time of this recording, Alan is sporting a very snazzy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and he's
This
got
is-
his water bottle.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have for those that are listening, I have a koozie that my brother gave me for Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl champions, and then I'm wearing a beanie that my sister got me, Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, very nice.
I like how
Super Bowl.
the family's got you covered.
Oh yeah,
right.
I got the best.
All that makes
Guys,
me think of
I
is
got the
that you know
best
that there are a crate
brother and
full of
sister.
those same hats
For
with
the
49ers
49ers,
on them somewhere.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, they're somewhere. They're not.
They're
They're not in the
being-
U.S.
they're being-
I want-
shipped
now I
to-
want to find one. I wish I had found one. I could bring it and I would have worn
They
it.
need to stitch loser across the top.
They just show up at Quentin prison or something like that. Here you guys go. Oh, all right. Some federal prison somewhere. Everybody's sporting 49er
no one's gonna
champion.
go.
Well, they didn't watch the Super Bowl.
I love that you went San Quentin. That's your go-to
Yeah.
prison.
Well, because I would take a ferry.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know this. I think I told you about it.
You took
But
a
I had-
ferry to prison?
Well, out of context, that sounds weird.
That does sound weird. Ferry, guys.
One of my first jobs out of college was I was living in the Sunset District of San Francisco, and I would take the streetcars to the pier, and I would take a ferry, and we would go across San Francisco Bay, and we would drive by San Quentin, Alcatraz, San Quentin, and then to Tiburon for where I would go to work. And then when I was done, I would take the ferry back at the end of the day, and you could have they had a bar. It was mostly just cans of beer or something.
Like
but I thought it was
a
kinda cool.
prison bar, Alan?
No, this was the ferry.
Okay.
So I mean, we were
Where you get your bread and water?
Yes, but here's the fun part. You always knew who actually used the ferry for work, and then who were tourists, because the tourists would line up at the edges of the ferry to be looking out at the bay and the sights, and you're like, you guys are idiots. Because every once in a while you would catch spray, and if anybody has ever been in the ocean north of San Diego, you know that it is, well, even in San Diego, the Pacific Ocean is freezing.
Freezing.
It is so cold. And so you would see these tourists that were in their tank tops and no change of clothes. And then they would just get drenched, and they're like, and you're just sitting there with your
Drinking your
cold
tea
beverage.
like the Kermit gif. You're
That's
just
right.
drinking,
You're just
drinking your Lipton.
laughing.
It's none of my business.
Okay, but bringing it back, that was San Francisco.
Yeah,
I love San
let's get out of
Francisco.
prison.
I did not. Oh, coming back to San Quentin, I always thought that it was so torturous that you would be in San Quentin and you could see the bay and you could see the ferries that were going back and forth.
Yeah, see
and
that,
all
guys?
the
That's
activity,
freedom.
sailboats. Yeah, and you're just, oh man, I guess I'm here. I shouldn't have done it.
Alcatraz, Sing Sing, all those.
That's right.
All those places.
Exactly.
What a great way to talk about sports.
Well,
Alan.
that's okay. So, but vis-a-vis, I mean, San Francisco 49ers were
that works.
in the
Yeah,
Super
and the
Bowl.
one that's most excited about the Super Bowl is the guy that's from California.
That's true.
Like-
But I've always been a Chiefs fan. Always. Even in
Oh.
California. Yeah, because you go, okay, you guys know that there's like friendly bars, right? Like I'm Chiefs friendly. Because if you're like in San Diego and, well, now that the Chargers have gone up to LA, but anyway, even if you're in LA, okay, and you want to see like the Rams or the Chargers, you would expect that all the bars would have their games on, but you can find like friendly bars where for college teams, you know, and then you could meet up with people of like minds and root on for your team.
Oh, that's cute.
No, it is, yeah.
And you can find them anywhere. So anyway, I've always been a Chiefs fan, and it has been tough. It has been tough for a long time, and in my lifetime, I always hoped for this. And then last season, when Patrick Mahomes was the starting quarterback, and Kelsey and Hill, and it was a exciting season. And I knew that we could go far, but we just didn't go far enough last year. And this year, man, turned it up. It was awesome. Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
I know.
You had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're the 12th man, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, though. And I wonder if you guys have a mind for this, too, because I do not. I have zero. I do not have a mind for stats. Like, there's some sports fans that know every play, know every player on the roster, know, all the, and as much as I've been watching the Chiefs and Chiefs football all of my life, only recently have I kind of started to open up. And one of the things that opened up sort of my idea of being a bigger fan is fantasy sports. So maybe we'll talk about that later. But my first question is, do you guys have like an idea? And I know that Sarah and Charity, you guys watch a lot of classic movies, and you have infinite. You're a source of infinite information. But do you just? I mean, are you able to recall like names of cast members and things like that?
Oh, well, I mean, you could probably do that with any movie that you enjoy. I mean,
well, Sarah and I did a trivia thing. We went on, this shows the classic movie nerds we are. So Turner Classic Movies, the channel used to do, well, they still do.
They still do, yeah.
The cruise. And so they rent like the big Disney cruise ship, and they show old movies. They have some of the old movie stars who are still alive come and talk about their experience and stuff. But in between all the different events, there would be like bingo, which sounds very old lady, or there'd be like trivia or crosswords or whatever, and we did pretty good at those.
Yeah, and we were like one of the youngest passengers on board.
Yeah, but we were beating the people who were alive during the time that the movie stars were still alive.
Yeah.
So we're okay. I mean, probably not in the form of like directors and like writers and stuff, but like I at least know
certain ones. Yeah.
I know music. I know a lot of the movie stars. And just random stuff like people's stage names versus their real names or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
But it always makes me feel...
Well, for sports, maybe there's more technicalities to it.
But it always makes me feel like defeated as a sports fan when I'm in a room with other fans that, enjoy whatever sporting event we're watching or something, and they're able to just rattle stuff off and talk like, oh man, that play was actually devised in the NCAA and it was first shown at this like Rose Bowl performance or something like that. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
As long as you know how the game is played, and then who won the last couple games, you can at least fake it and be like, oh yeah, that was great. Or he did this move and he caught the ball or whatever.
I guess that's where because I'm not faking it. I mean, I truly, I watch the entire season and even going back in, like, I don't know, I even in my like sitting here right now, I couldn't tell you like how the Chiefs got to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I don't know if maybe
I think there's a lot of people that wonder about that too.
Probably so.
Well,
that don't know stats.
I guess I just get intimidated by someone that just has the mind of a statistician that can just rattle off.
Well, I used
everything.
to keep stats. So like I started doing sports in 4th grade. So I started doing soccer, then moved to basketball and volleyball. So at some point, if you were on a club team or just did high school sports, you rotated taking stats. So that way, when the coach looked and say, okay, this person scored this many points, you can kind of keep track of that. So I used to do that for basketball. And then on volleyball club team, you would take turns like reffing some of the games or line judging and keeping stats that way. So if there's someone like me, and even in watching sports, I can't keep track. So like I only know if I'm paying attention, I have the score card in my hand. But I mean, if someone who is focused on sports or used to do that when they were younger, they might, be better at catching it.
Yeah.
And I think too that I think there's a difference between stats and like trivia knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Because like I can tell you, I mean, depends on the year, I guess, that they fall into. But I am like a big like, oh, what was that movie with that guy that was about that one thing? And I'm just like, oh, it's that. Like I can do that. Like I know directors, I know actors, and stuff like that. And then my mom, she's a huge football fan. And she's one of those people that's like, oh, yeah, so-and-so was playing for this team this year when they run this, right? But she's not going to be all like, oh, they ran, they had like this percentage and they ran this many touchdowns in this season or whatever. Like those like stats. Yeah. She doesn't know that. But she's like what kind of like, I think what you're talking about a little bit where she can just rattle off like, oh, yeah, that was back in, 97 when so-and-so did. And I'm just like, what?
But when stats and trivia people get together, it does make for a very nice conversation.
That's true.
Because you get back and forth knowledge of that.
That's true.
And that's what impresses me the times I do watch, like the commentators and like the way they speak. Like, oh man, he hasn't done this since that big game in '86, and he starts doing all that stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. I mean, even if you have those notes with you,
you get the notes.
You have to study up on it. You can't sit there and read a script.
Oh, you can't fake it.
Yeah, you cannot fake that stuff at all.
Yeah.
Unless you're just a heck of a good actor. But still, you got to have that knowledge in you to be able to take that out for it to come out of you.
Yeah.
Now, see, for me, I don't really do any of that. Probably out of everybody, I'm probably the least sports-minded person.
You tried basketball when you were younger.
I don't know. I might challenge you on that one.
Oh, okay.
One-on-one game.
To take it from just Dan to play sports. but see, for me, I'm taking it from a different perspective. If I do play a sports, I prefer, I guess I could call it individual sports. So please don't depend on me to be a team player because I'm really not that good. like I've tried basketball.
Like golf?
Oh, yeah, I would say golf is kind of an individual sport, or like tennis.
I'm really good at putt-putt, too.
Oh, yeah, you can't get any more individual than putt-putt. With that little 6-year-old thing, it's like, oh, it went straight into the cloud's mouth.
How did it hit the windmill blade again?
Yeah, I can't wait to see that at the PGA.
In the hole.
Wait, you said tennis. Tennis, you still
sorry, not tennis. Okay, maybe.
I mean, you're playing it by yourself, but you still need someone to hit the ball back to you.
So individual / one-on-one. So yeah, tennis. Okay. I do like racquetball. That's racquetball. I need to get better at it, but I used to be pretty good at racquetball.
Yeah.
I used to be pretty good at racquetball. But games like that I can do. But please don't put me on a basketball team. Don't put me on a baseball team.
Sure.
Barely kickball because they would end up catching the ball in the field anyway.
You see, those sports that you like, racquetball, tennis, like the ball is too small. Any sport that I've played, the ball's been at least like volleyball, basketball, soccer size, because I've been hit in the face with a ball. But if I can see it coming, I can at least block it or hit it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I played racquetball for college because we had to do an elective.
Yeah, we did too.
I could not find that ball. That ball bounces so far, and you're in a big white room with a small blue ball. You should be able to find it, but that thing goes so fast.
Yeah.
I had little welts all over me because I was trying to find a ball like a cat finding a laser beam. That ball is too small.
At least you were looking for the ball. I have a story of when I was in Little League, and so the step up from T-ball, for those that play, you go T-ball, and then you go to a pitching machine.
Right.
And for some reason, here's the weird part, there's still a pitcher. So
that's right. Yep.
You still have you still have somebody on the team that's a pitcher, but they're just standing there. But like a coach is feeding the balls.
Right.
And so I remember it was practice, but we had the pitching machine, and it's just a tire spinning, like a tube, and then you just kind of feed in the balls, and it's just strike every time, pretty much. And I remember staring at the pitching machine, watching the tire spin, trying to figure out how is this all working. And the next thing I know, I hear a crack, and then I take a ball right above my ear, and I was
Were you out? Oh my God! Like out baseball term, or out by unconscious?
No, I did not catch the ball. It was more fall down, and then the next thing I know is, are you okay? I'm like, I don't know what happened.
You went in engineer mode and forgot to play the game.
Right. So I was the kid with the glove on my head wandering around in the field. Yeah.
So you were saying that like you're not really into sports, right? And I said that I would challenge you on that.
Yes, challenge me.
So we live in like the Midwest, right? So think of like Midwest sports. I'm not talking about like
cornhole
or like a lacrosse.
Yeah, cornhole.
I'm not talking about like your
Washers.
baseball, your football, your basketball, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I have been hit in the head or the face with every single sports ball that you can think of in this area. Every single one.
Really?
Absolutely.
What
Name
about
one.
you bit a hockey puck?
Yep, absolutely.
I was
used to play
gonna say,
roller
that's like a
hockey.
ball.
I used to play roller hockey when I was younger. I loved roller hockey. You asked before if we were into sports.
Yeah.
Not normal ones. I love soccer and I love hockey. Those are my two things.
Those aren't normal?
Well, I don't know. Not for this area.
No, not for this area.
Depends on where you go.
Yeah.
Regionally exclusive.
Yeah, regionally, no. I get a lot of weird looks. Playing goalie. Yep. We used to have like this little patch of cement that we played on, and my dad, he was, he used to play hockey in high school. Mm-hmm. So he was like moving the puck around and everything, and he goes for a wrist shot right in the face. Right in the mouth. Absolutely.
Did you knock a tooth out or something?
No, not on that one, but the baseball knocked my tooth out. The baseball knocked me. We had a baseball kind of diamond near our house, and all the kids would go out there and they'd play, and I saw everybody out there one day, so I ran out there to play. I have no idea why. I'm terrible at sports. I think I was forced to. So I go out there, and I'm like, hey, can I play? And they're like, sure, you can go to third base. So I run down the third base line, and I turn around.
At least you went to third base, though.
I did. That's true. I knew which one I was going to. And as I'm turning around, I hear this crack, right?
Oh, no.
And then all of a sudden, I'm turned back around, and I fall down on my face. The line drive down the third base line hit me in the mouth, and I'm just out. Like, I'm out cold. The next thing I know, I wake up, and like everybody's sort of like sitting there around me, and I go to the hospital. It's a whole mess. So yes, every single one.
Man,
yep.
Your first time going in for a pickup game of baseball.
Absolutely.
And you're going to the hospital.
And that was just the ball. I got hit with a baseball bat too.
So are you watching Sandlot and going, that's not how it happens. That's not how it happens.
Yeah. My worst one was basketball though. Because basketball, we used to have this kid that loved to do full court shots, and I'm just running down the line right behind and all of a sudden I just get drilled in the side of the head from a full court throw.
You're like a magnet.
I know. That's why I don't play sports anymore.
That's the thing too about a basketball. You don't think of it being like it would hurt.
You don't.
Not as much.
Does.
Yeah, it's the force of it.
The ball never bothered me in basketball. It was flying elbows. Like I got jabbed in the throat one time by a sharp little elbow, and I was like.
That was so bad.
The ref had to stop the game for 5 minutes because I forgot how to breathe.
I would always get asked to leave. Like I would play on varsity football and wrestling and things like that. So people just assumed I was a good basketball player, and they were like, "You should play basketball." And I was okay with shooting, but I never understood because I would foul out all the time. I'm like, how do you just not? Do something to stop somebody from scoring.
Right.
You have to
that was kind of
throw out an arm or a leg or something like that.
You got to do it when the ref's not looking. I did send a girl to the ER one time accidentally on purpose. No, but she was a terrible person, so I wasn't too sad about it.
Okay.
This is what this podcast is for. We're just letting out
Sorry,
all the
random
dirt
person
and baggage.
from way back when.
So watching sports, what type of person are you guys? Are you a quiet spectator? Are you happily enjoying it? Or do you yell at the TV?
I'm a yeller.
Or like get angry and like, you can't do anything right. You're a horrible player. You're one of those, Alan?
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised because he's such a nice person.
No, the way he's been talking today, I can.
Yeah, I'm very involved. But, okay, so I'm so involved that when I'm not, like my wife gets nervous. So let's go back to the Super Bowl 54. Yeah, and for those that didn't watch it, or if this is in the future or whatever, so the Chiefs had taken an early lead, and then the 49ers took over, and then it was looking very, very good for the 49ers to win all through the third quarter. So
it was very
Half,
cinematic.
yes, after the half and that 15 minutes third quarter, I was quiet. And not only was I quiet, but a lot of people were quiet, and my wife was sitting next to me, and she puts her hand on my shoulder. She said, "Are you okay, babe?" And I'm like, "Just don't talk to me."
Supportive.
Yeah,
don't
talk to me.
I don't want to even think about this right now.
He's invested.
Yeah, but when the last 6 minutes, when it was clearly going the Chiefs' way, I mean, I was up and down, throwing things in the air.
Okay, I'm upset that there's no footage of this.
I think there is.
Of you jumping up and down the screen.
I don't know if I know. I remember my wife setting up. Because I told her, I said, we're going to win. And she's like, there's like 3 minutes left. I'm like, yeah, we're going to win.
It's the bottom of the ninth, guys.
There's no way. The only way that we could lose is basically we just throw it
Stop
right
trying.
now. Yeah. So she set up her phone. And I think she hit record, but it stopped recording after maybe 30 seconds. So when it was clear that the Chiefs were well, we're absolutely going to win, and then we're able to run up the score a little bit. I don't think that we recorded, but everybody was jumping up. We had high fives. But I'm very involved.
So you're very invested then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you?
You don't even watch sports though.
I do. But, okay, see, I watch sports, but not maybe like the way everybody else does, because in high school and college, and even since graduating from college, I'm usually on the camera crew that does the sports.
Yeah, Hero Cam.
Yeah. So and that's usually like the main shot, that gets, the main shots of the game. So, I don't really bother watching TV because I'm like, I'm going to be looking at it through the viewfinder of the camera.
Yeah.
So, that's a different perspective, because when people are like, did you watch the game? I'm like, well, technically, yes.
Yeah. My eyes were open.
Yeah. Like I was shooting. I wasn't, so I look at it, even when I look at it on TV, I almost look at it as a camera person.
Yeah.
I'm like that when I watch movies, period. I don't just watch it. I can't watch stuff as a spectator anymore. I look at it through the lens of a camera.
I watch as a spectator for the first go round. Like if I'm watching a movie, I'm entertained. But like if I watch it multiple times,
yes, to a certain extent, it does get stronger and stronger the more movies you watch. But even just a sporting event in general, or I kind of do, because I personally like watching like those reaction videos. So I kind of bask in the happiness of others.
Oh, sure.
So when
the highlights are the best.
Yeah. So when the Chiefs won, I liked watching the videos of people cheering for when they won.
Oh, yeah.
And just seeing hundreds of people in these clusters just screaming their heads off.
Yeah.
when they didn't do a thing at all.
Yeah.
That makes me laugh.
Oh, they do a lot. Okay.
They cheer them on, but like
Loudest stadium in the NFL.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you're not on the field.
you're not
doing practice. You're not in the workout room lifting
But
weights.
if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be able to offer the contracts that they do offer for the players.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
To get the Patrick Mahomes, to get the Travis Kelce's.
But still, there's something about it.
Yeah,
especially just watching people, like, especially at like little kid games, like people are just getting angry.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, dude, they're
and I'm
6.
Like,
Settle down.
Or
All right,
just
so
let them play the game.
So breaking it down to sports in general.
Yeah.
When it comes down to just competition, and I do think that competition is a very good lesson to learn early and often, I think.
Yes. Well, to a certain extent. Like, competition, sports-wise, are just competing in whatever category. Yes. To a certain extent, I would say maybe till the age of like 5 or 6. Maybe 5. Because you do have to kind of learn you're not going to always win.
Oh, that's it. But I think that that's implicit.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that you can be constantly improving unless you do realize that you are 3 points away from losing, or 30 seconds away from losing, and you have to turn it up that much more. And even if you don't achieve the goal, you recognize that, brush it off, and then return to the competition.
But parents don't have to like insult the coach and the ref and the other kids on the
I think
field.
that it could be taken too far.
Yeah,
that's very immature on their end. It's almost like a stage mother. They're pushing
the kids out.
They're pushing their kid to do something that they wish they did or they did as a kid, and they can't do it anymore. So it's like, you're going to be in Little League because I was in Little League, and then they push and then it becomes their thing that the kid happens to be like a byproduct of, It's like he's like a decoration. He's like, yeah, he's playing baseball, but this is all about me.
Yeah.
Because I was the star, back in my day.
Yes, it can be taken too far, but I do think that it's important to encourage competition. One of the things that, even outside of sports, but taking that idea like into a classroom, I remember talking to my students who would there would be a good student in my classroom, and people not wanting to talk to that person or something. They're like, they become like the teacher's pet or the goody-goody or something. And I would point that out. Yes, this is the best student that I have in my class. And all of you should be running towards this student. I mean, you should run towards competition and not try to run away from it or recognize as that's something that's unattainable, because it's not. Somebody actually has obtained or attained that status, and you should want to know, how do I fight? And the point of that speech was always surround yourself with people that are better than you. Don't be the best person in your circle. Be in a circle where everybody is looking to better themselves.
Well, see,
be better.
If more places and schools would do speeches like that, maybe that would be more of an inspiration. Because I know good and full well when I was a kid, and I used to enjoy competing we would do a lot of stuff for band and art and stuff like that. And while I enjoyed competing, in a lot of ways I knew there wasn't a chance that I could win, mainly because with stuff like that, it wasn't like, hey, let's strive to be like this one. It's like, why aren't you like that? And that changes the mindset a bit. Also, with some of the contests that me and Charity were a part of at the school we went to, most of the judges were the parents of the people.
So it's like, oh, look, my son won first place. Imagine that.
Yeah, I wonder how did my son win first place when I was the judge of their competition. So if it's a good and honest contest, hey, I think that's great. If it's going to be rigged by mom and dad being the judge of little Johnny's, science project.
Yes, it can go too far. And that's the other thing too with competition. Competition is good. Cheating is bad. I mean,
cheating on both sides, because sometimes the kid cheats as well as the parents.
I think that's what's good about rules, or good about sports, is that here are the guidelines, here are the rules that are set for this competition, this contest, whatever it is, this match, this whatever. And everybody has the exact same rules and then you compete in that field. Now, when cheating or trying to obtain an unfair advantage or something like that for the win, of course, that's when it goes awry. But there's no way to curb that too. And one of the things that seems, since time immemorial, is it immemorial? Immemorial. Yeah. Is, trying to find a winning edge, and trying to find the loopholes or how to the workarounds within the system to gain that advantage over the competition.
Yeah.
Which either it elevates the game or it completely destroys it.
Yeah.
So, in wrapping up for sports, I'm for them. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Pro sports.
Pro sports here.
I do like sports. I feel like the mother in this thing because I don't like seeing people get hurt.
Oh, come on, Sarah. That's part of, you got to scrape your knees.
I know that's part. Scrape knees.
You got to break your arm.
Yeah, but I mean, like.
You got to take a ball to the side of your head.
Yeah, and that's why you turned out the way you did, right, Alice?
That's right. I do operate a little slowly.
After 15 pelts to the face, Dan gets hockey pucks and baseball bats.
But the end result is Alan figured out how that baseball machine worked.
That's true. It spins and a ball goes through.
And everything goes black.
And as soon as that ball goes over the wheel, you should probably turn your head and see where the ball is going.
Yeah, and Dan, what did you learn from all that impact that you received?
Well, I'm going to take the very unpopular I am anti-sports stance. Because they hurt me. That's all it is. Okay. I'm not really anti-sports. I really just don't care. I honestly just do not care.
Oh, that's so sad. But we'll discuss that more in our next podcast. On sports.
Our Sigmund Freud cast. We just sit about and talk about why we turned out the way we did.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. And
great talk.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in today. For more fun, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Double Stuffed Podcast and on Twitter at Double Stuffed P, as in the letter P.